Hello and welcome to the first live stream of the year 2022. Welcome. Now today I'm going to be sharing some really exciting updates that have happened over LinkedIn during 2021. These are updates that a lot of people have missed, but actually can be a real game changer for your LinkedIn strategy, particularly if you're looking for prospecting for new clients or trying to raise your visibility on LinkedIn during 2022. So if you are watching, please do introduce yourself into the chat, say hello, tell me where you're from, and do ask questions as well. Do ask questions in the chat as we're going through this live stream, because there's going to be loads of juicy information all about how to improve your LinkedIn strategy. And right at the end, I'm going to be telling you how the algorithms have changed. And it's really quite interesting. So if you're creating content on LinkedIn, I'm going to be sharing some of the algorithm changes, which will make a huge difference. Okay. So if you're watching this live, I'm Bex from Social Media Executive, and I train businesses how to improve their social media strategy, how to get more clients. And one of the key areas I focus on is LinkedIn if you are a B2B business. Thanks everyone. Oh, hi Amanda. Thanks for saying hello. So again, please do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please do give it a like again and ask any questions in the chat. I'm more than happy to help as we are live. And if you're watching this on catch up, then again, just write some questions in the comments and I'll come back to you. So welcome everybody. I'm going to do some slide sharing today, just for the first few points, because I really want to get across how some of these features have changed and where you can actually find them on LinkedIn. Okay, so you're going to bear with me while I share my screen. This is always the challenge, isn't it, on here? So I am going to just remove this. I'm just going to move me over here. Always helps. There we go. And then I'm going to share this screen here. Okay, add this to the stream, and hopefully you can now see my slide. Okay, right then. So again, do ask me any questions as if we're going through the chat. This is me, this is Bex. And actually, just to let you know, if you use your phone, if you're watching this on a PC, you can actually scan that QR code and it'll take you straight to my LinkedIn profile. Now, my LinkedIn profile may look a little bit different to yours, but I'm going to explain why it looks a little bit different because of some of the new features that LinkedIn introduced during 2021. Okay, so first of all, let's move on to the next slide. So the first thing that LinkedIn introduced was creator mode. Okay, now what's this? What's creator mode? Sounds all a bit sort of techy, doesn't it? But it's actually really, really simple. Basically, LinkedIn creator mode is, you'll find it if you go onto your LinkedIn profile and you scroll down to your dashboard. It's this little bit here, you see, where it says creator mode is on. And this, basically, if you click onto this, it takes you into this screen here. So basically, that's creator mode. And it's just a different way of sort of managing your LinkedIn profile. Okay. So again, there's a really, really cool way of using this in many different areas. But the thing that I use it for most is, if we just click onto here, is this button here. So when you go onto people's profiles, LinkedIn prompts you to connect. Okay. So LinkedIn prompts any people who are visiting you to connect. Now, if people connect to you, they automatically follow you. And what that means is that if you accept their connection, you become friends, as it were. You're both connected to each other. You can then see each other's content in your feed. You're automatically following them. Okay. You get access to their contact details. Okay. You can message them in LinkedIn. Now, if you switch creator mode on, this changes your profile. It changes it into this. It changes it into follow. So now when people jump onto your LinkedIn profile, they'll be prompted to follow you rather than connect. So what follow means is it doesn't send an invite to connect to that person. You're just following them so that you can actually see their content. Okay. So you can see their content, but you're not connected to them. Okay. So as you can see, you know, you can't message them or anything like that. You can follow them. Now, if you click on to these people's profiles and click more, you then have the option to connect. Okay. So you can connect if you click this more button here. Okay. So as someone said, it's a bit of a spy mode. It is. You're absolutely right. It is a bit of a spy mode. You're basically going in there and following people's content, but they don't necessarily, you're not connecting with them. So it's a bit like a spy mode. Although if you come to some of my LinkedIn workshops, I'll show you some more elaborate ways of spying on potential clients and competitors if that's what you're into. Hi Kate. Hi, Kate from Fox Graphics. Thanks for saying hello and Happy New Year as well. Okay, so when you're looking at this, you really need to think about your creator mode, because if you want to grow your connections, if that's what your objective is on LinkedIn, then you want to stick with this. But if, like me, you've got an awful lot of connections and you want to be very specific about who you're connecting with, then you might want to choose creator mode. Okay. So that's a really interesting adaptation of LinkedIn that we saw this year. Okay. The other thing that we can do on LinkedIn as well, if you go onto your mobile phone and you go into and you've got sort of creator mode on and things like that, or if you go onto your mobile phone and you just click the plus button over your profile, you can now add a little cover story. So you can actually do a little video introduction for all your LinkedIn connections, future connections, people who click on your profile. You record on your mobile phone just a 30-second video to introduce yourself, and then when people hover over your profile picture, they'll have a little video, which is really quite cool. Again, a nice little feature that was added to LinkedIn in 2021. Okay. So let's move on then. LinkedIn stories. Put your hands up if you saw LinkedIn stories last year. Tell me, let me know in the comments if you actually did your own LinkedIn stories. So last year, LinkedIn actually introduced LinkedIn stories. And for me, this was brilliant, you know, because I was doing stories on Facebook, I was doing stories on Instagram. So I just thought, brilliant, I can just transfer those stories and start using LinkedIn stories. And actually, for anyone using LinkedIn stories, you get an awful lot of visibility, because as soon as people switched on the mobile phone on LinkedIn, stories popped up at the top. It was really quite prominent. And I sold quite a few tickets to my workshops, such as my LinkedIn workshop and my Facebook workshop. I can remember straight away, my story popped up promoting those workshops. And because I had over 5,000 connections, I was able to put a link in straight through to the booking workshop. Okay. So it was brilliant. And I just thought, fantastic. And when I launched my special days of the year work planner later last year, then basically I was like, I'm going to use stories. It's so visible. So yes, as someone said, yes, basically stories, aka view the ads. Well, yeah, absolutely. But basically what happened was they've then got rid of it. So literally in 1 year, they introduced stories, and then within a year, they've got rid of them. So I created this whole strategy around stories, thinking, oh, brilliant new feature. Always use new features if they're launched on social media, because you do get a lot of prominence for using new features, and then they took them away. So yes, as Kate said, yes, it's gone. Okay. So LinkedIn stories are no more. Hopefully there have been petitions. I've seen them on LinkedIn. I've seen polls on LinkedIn to get them back, because they really were quite good. Okay. Now, there is a new feature that is useful, that is still there, and that is unlikely to disappear, and that's providing services. Who's heard of this one? So, as we know, we're B2B. Most businesses, most individuals on LinkedIn are there to provide services rather than products, because if we were delivering products, we'd probably be, you know, on the likes of Facebook. But because a lot of us provide services, because we are B2B, on LinkedIn, this is a fantastic new feature. So again, if we look, this is my profile. If we look down here to the left-hand side, here we go. There's providing services there. Okay. And you can basically highlight up to 5 areas that you provide services on. My recommendation is just stick to those services that are really relevant to what you provide. Once you click on that, it basically takes you into this. Now, this is fantastic because you can put a bit about the services that you provide in a little bit more detail. It's very prominent because it's right at the top of your profile. And also you can jam in a load of those keywords so that you can help with your ranking on LinkedIn as well. So again, providing services, a great new feature just to really highlight more business features. People can also leave reviews as well on this area too, okay, which is a relatively new feature. And I haven't really seen many people using that bit, but there is the option to do that there. Personally, I tend to just ask people for recommendations on my LinkedIn profile, but that option is there if you want to use it, okay? So that's really, really useful, okay? Now, another one that I think is brilliant is the newsletter, and there's a reason why it's brilliant, not just because you can create one, but basically if you go to write a post in LinkedIn, as you would normally, you have the option to write an article. Okay, now articles have been a bit of a dead in the water really for the last 2 years, and I've not really been recommending anyone to write articles. They had no prominence really recently. However, they've now created this newsletter feature. So just go into the home feed, create a post, but create an article under that section, and it brings you to this screen here, much like the article view. But here you would click create a newsletter, and it's very much the way laid out as you would create an article. But the beauty about this, and the game changer with this, with a newsletter rather than an article, is that you can, from your network, basically, you can invite people to subscribe to your newsletter. So you can actually actively promote that newsletter. So here I've got one in. If I go to your network, as you can see, the person who's posted it, there's a little green icon with this little square newsletter feature there. And it just says newsletter weekly. Invited you, so-and-so invited you to subscribe to, and then it gives you the name of the newsletter. And then you can accept it or ignore it. So it's fantastic, much like they did with events, where you can invite people to your events. They've now done it to the newsletter. So again, a fantastic feature for 2021 that really you need to consider for your business. Now, the next feature that I really love, and this is one of the favorites, and it only came out in December, and I'm really quite excited about it. Still looking at it and dabbling with it at the moment. But basically, the next one was the bell feature. Anyone heard of the bell feature? Who's put LinkedIn spammer emailer? No, we're not spamming with our newsletter. We are creating content that is useful and insightful. Let's face it, spammy emails don't get us anywhere, do they? We've got to be adding value. But yeah, you're right. Some people will be using it for spamming with the newsletters. So, but they're not going to get very far, are they, basically? Okay, so this is the game changer. This is the one I really love. And this one is the bell feature. Has anybody noticed the bell feature? Anyone noticed it? What is the bell feature? The bell feature is if you go into people's LinkedIn profiles and you have a look, there's a little grey bell there. If you click that grey bell under people's profiles, basically you are going to be following their content more prominently. So for example, I think I've got over 7,000 connections now. That's an awful lot of content that is not going to be put in my newsfeed. If all those 7,000 people are creating posts and going into my newsfeed, I'm not going to see all of them. I'm not going to see most of them. So basically, this bell feature, you click the bell, and it prioritizes that person's social media content, the posts that they are providing. So if there's anyone that adds a lot of value, that is useful in your sector, that is really, you really want to see their content, because let's face it, LinkedIn is hopeless at helping you to see the content you really want. You've got to actively regularly engage with it. Basically now you can go on to, and again, I'd only suggest selecting, between 5 and 10. Go, right, I really want to see these people's content. And, it's not going to put their content in your newsfeed. You're going to get a notification to say they've posted new content. It's going to prompt you to go to their new post. You're not going to see it in the newsfeed. But if you then like and engage with that content, it's then going to keep popping up in your newsfeed. So again, go through it and click it. This is a game changer for LinkedIn. I think this is amazing. You can also do it in your groups, although doesn't seem to be working that well for notifications of new content, but do play around with it. This is a new feature. They are going to be focusing on it. Okay. So Kate's just asked, where was the newsletter again? Seen it and can't find it. So again, to create that newsletter, you basically go into as if you were writing a normal post, but instead of writing your post, you just click article and you go in through it that way. Okay. So basically that's the bell feature. Oh yes, a few people have seen the bell. Brilliant, Kate. Bell feature is a notification up to 11. So yeah, bell feature, notifications turned up to 11. Could you explain what you mean by that? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay, so basically those are some of the features. Now I want to talk about the algorithms, because the algorithms are what make LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn algorithms have massively changed since August. Okay, so algorithms are so important when we are creating content. Okay, and I'm just going to do a quick plug, because if you're creating content on LinkedIn, you've really got to think ahead. And you really got to struggle. Sometimes people struggle to create content. So which is why I have got my special days of the year wall planner, which, if you can see on here, every single day has an awareness day on it or a special day of the year listed on it. We've got Beer Day Britain, we've got Yorkshire Day, we've got Kite Day. There's loads of stuff on there. So every week it'll give you some inspiration about what to post on your social media. Really, really handy plan. And I've got one just back here behind me on the wall. You can write on it and anything. And there's a special offer on as well at the moment. So if you buy my wall planner, you also get my digital content planning tool for half price as well at checkout. So do have a look at that. Again, I'll put the link in the content, and then we're going to talk about algorithms on LinkedIn and how they have changed. But let me just put this in the chat so that you've got that there. But yes, it's only $12.99. Wall planner. I have had brilliant feedback from it, so thank you everybody who have done that. Okay, just checking the chat because there's quite a few things going in there. So yes, do have a look at that product. Really good for planning your social media in advance and getting organised for 2022. Right, I'm just going to come out then and remove this so that we can see. So now we're going to talk about algorithms. Who loves algorithms? Who understands algorithms? Basically, algorithms are the little robots that work behind the scenes. Like any social media, that platform wants to give its users the best user experience possible. Because let's face it, if we were on social media and we kept being fed content that was absolute rubbish and didn't interest us, we wouldn't go back on that social media platform again. Okay, so therefore, when we are creating content, we really have to tap into our ideal clients, which is why I talk about ideal clients all the time. Because if we don't create content that interests and inspires people, if we don't create content that people are engaged with, that like, then that social media platform is not going to share our content with anyone else. Okay, so the idea with any social media content and with LinkedIn is no different. It's about creating content, and these algorithms decide how far they're going to share your content. Okay, so Facebook, somebody's But yeah, whoever, I thought it was something to do with hay fever, but then realised it was allergens. You need to put your name in the chat in Facebook. I think you're in my Facebook group or on Facebook, because I haven't got your name. That's very funny. Yes, it's not allergies, it's algorithms. They are the little robots. Okay. So basically, these are some of the changes. Okay. Now, one of them is, put your hands up. Do you tag people in your LinkedIn posts? Okay. I always recommend people do. But what I've seen on LinkedIn is a lot of tagging of people whereby they tag loads of people into their post just to try and get it seen. I get it a lot because I'm quite active on social media. People tag me in and it's not even relevant. And it is infuriating because you also then start getting notifications. Well, now if you tag people in, maybe you tag 3 people in, that's fine. If it's relevant, if the post is relevant to them and is about them, tag them in. But if those people do not interact with your post, then unfortunately, your post is going to lose LinkedIn brownie points, as I like to call it. It's not going to be shared as widely. This is because people have been spamming the tag in just to get seen. So LinkedIn, fair enough, if they don't interact with it. So if you are tagged into a post and it is about you, please do like it at least and maybe put a comment on there. Otherwise, that poor person that's taken the time to write that comment, write that post, will be penalised for it. Okay, so that's really interesting, and I personally think that's a fantastic game changer. The other thing that has changed this year as well is you might find that when you used to write a post, most of your visibility would happen in the first sort of 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, most of your reach would happen. And then after a couple of days, it would sort of die a death. You wouldn't get that very many likes. But I don't know if a few of you have been jumping onto LinkedIn last week and seeing how many happy Christmas posts there were. And it's like, hang on a minute, Christmas is finished. That's because the algorithm has changed. So initially, LinkedIn would post your post immediately to lots of people who normally engage with your content. However, what it's doing now is it's drip feeding it out. Okay, it's drip feeding it out over a week, over quite a few days, to be honest. It's drip feeding it out. And if those people then engage with it, then it shares it to more people. So actually your LinkedIn post now tends to have a longer lifespan. Okay. This is brilliant as well. And I think one of the reasons that they put this in is because of LinkedIn pods. I don't know if you've heard of LinkedIn pods, but people join these sort of groups to artificially inflate their posts by getting random people to comment on it and like it, whether they're interested in the topic or not. And again, I do not condone LinkedIn pods at all, because the only people you want to be engaging with it are your potential customers, really. So by artificially inflating the reach of it, people would jump on, say, oh, my post's just gone out, jump on, interact with it, and it would artificially inflate the reach. But now LinkedIn have changed, the algorithms have changed, so now we're being drip fed that information. So those are some of the interesting algorithm changes that we have seen just recently since the summer. You've probably seen posts popping up, polls popping up, gazillion amount of polls. Worth doing a poll. So, who's tried a poll recently? They're getting a good reach, actually. Text-only posts not doing quite so well as they used to. And videos have taken a bit of a downturn as well, although I am sure video will come back because all the other social media platforms are massively jumping onto videos. But basically, think about your content. The most important thing to do is think about your content, think about your target market and make it relevant, make it engaging, and, get people enthused about what you're writing about and what you're saying. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Okay. And that's a really key point for 2022 on LinkedIn. So those are some of the key changes from LinkedIn. I hope you found them useful. Again, if you like this video, please do give it a like because that helps me with the algorithms. Please do write a comment below, a question, anything if you did find this useful. And if you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe to my channel. Next week, I'm going to be back at 12:30 and I'm going to be talking about Facebook and how to protect your account. So many of my clients, so many people have approached me recently because their account has been hacked. So please do think about joining me next week at 12:30 because I'm going to show you how you need to protect your account on LinkedIn to stop it being hacked. I've had clients being hacked who've had 34,000 followers and their accounts have been closed down. I've had clients approach me last year. They've stolen 160 grams worth of money out of their business accounts by getting through via Facebook. You've got to be careful, and Facebook is not a helpful platform. So I really recommend that you join me next week at 12:30. Okay, thank you everybody for watching. And again, if you want to plan your content, please do grab hold of my special days of the year wall planner to help you plan your content. And I will see you next week at 12:30. Same time, same place. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.